and welcome to Bella Coconut Boutique on YouTube. Thank you for joining me today. If this is the first time that you're checking out some of my videos, welcome, welcome. If you have watched previous videos and you are joining me again, welcome back. It's so wonderful to have you here. Today I am going to be showing you how to do the moss stitch. And this one is a simple stitch that creates kind of this diagonal pattern in your yarn, and it is simply single crochets and chains, single crochets and chains, and working across in that way. So in order to make this pattern, you can use any yarn of your choosing, any size hook of your choosing, a pair of scissors, and a needle to weave in your ends when you are finished with your project. So I'm going to show you how I start. So this one I'm just going to do a slip knot. So just wrap the yarn around your finger, making an X. I hold the X with my left hand, tuck under the excess and pull. You can also start your slip knot however you feel comfortable. But to do this pattern, you're going to want your rows to be overall even numbers across. So to start, you will have to chain an odd number so that you can go back and make single crochets in the first, in the second chain from the hook, and then that way you'll have even numbers all the way across. So for this one, I'm just going to choose, say 21 stitches, but you are going to want to make it as wide or as small as you want. Again, it depends on how big your hook is, how big the material that you're using, and if you have a really bulky yarn, you'll have a bigger hook, so you might not need as many stitches. So for now, I'm going to start with 21. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So these are the chains we're going to be working in. So I need to work in the back of this 20th stitch right here. So in order to make sure I can get into it, I have to add one extra chain so that I can do a single crochet. If I was doing a double crochet, I would do 3 extra chains. If I was doing a half double, I would do 2 extra chains from where I want my length to start, my width to start. So we have 21 stitches. And now we're going to single crochet in the back of the second chain from the hook. So you'll see you have 1, 2. So we want to be in this chain, and I like to work in the back. So you're going to see there's this little loop, this little bump up. That's what I work under. So we will do a single crochet, and then I like to work in these back loops across. So that is 1. Now you can work into the side, the back, whichever loop you would like. I just happen to prefer working in the back of my single crochets because then the edge of my work looks like a finished stitch on either side. But you can certainly work under any part of the stitch. So if you want to work on this part, this front loop, this back one, or the little hump, you certainly can. But we're just going to do single crochets all the way across, and at the end of this row we will have 20. Again, you can choose how wide you want to make your project. If you're doing, you know, a twin size bed, you'll need way more than 20 stitches. You'll need maybe 250, maybe 300, again, depending upon your hook size and the weight of your yarn. So there's 18, 19, and 20. So now we will have 20 stitches across. So again, however wide you want it, just chain until you hit your width and make it an odd number. So chain your width, and if you're at say 200 stitches, add 1 more to your beginning. So you want to chain an odd number, but when you're done, you will have an even number because you start your pathway, you start your project in the second chain from the hook, so that last one really doesn't count. It counts more as a turning chain. So we have 20, and now we're going to start the second row. So for this pattern, we are going to chain 2 at the start of every row. 1 chain is to get the height. It's a single crochet, so we go up a 1 chain, so 1 row. And we add the second one because we're actually going to be skipping the first stitch. So again, at the end of every row, we're going to chain 2. We're going to turn our work. We're going to skip this first stitch, and we're going to single crochet in the second stitch. And now we're going to chain 1, skip 1, single crochet, chain 1, skip 1, single crochet, chain 1, skip 1, single crochet. And we are going to do this across the project. So we're going to chain 1, skip 1, single crochet, 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 chain 1, skip 1, and we're going to single crochet in that turning chain, that 21st stitch that we did. And now we've done our first pass of the moss stitch. Now, just like at the other end, we are going to chain 2, turn our work, and now we're going to be working in these chain 1 spaces. So we're going to do the same pattern, but we're not going to be going into any of the stitches. So we chained 2, we are skipping this first single crochet, and we are working in the chain 1. So we're going to single crochet, chain 1, go into the next open space, single crochet, chain 1, go into that next open space, single crochet, and we're going to repeat that all the way across. So you're going to chain 1, and we're going to single crochet in the chain 1 spaces from the row below. So in this row, these chain 1 spaces that we're creating are going to be the single crochet spaces in the next row. So now when you get to the end, you just want to make sure that you're getting around this last single crochet, because we started this previous row off with a chain 2, skipping the first single crochet and going into that second one. We don't necessarily have a nice big chain 1 space, but we do have a small opening. So we want to make sure that we get around the whole stitch when we single crochet. So now there's the second row, and you can sort of see the start to the stagger. So again, we're going to chain 2, turn our work, we're going to skip that single crochet, and we're going to work into those chain 1 spaces from the previous row. So we're just going to single crochet in the chain 1, chain 1 on your hook, skip over the single crochet and move into the next chain 1 space. So single crochet, chain 1, skip 1, single crochet, chain 1, skip 1, single crochet. And again, you're just going to be repeating this pattern all the way across your work and across your rows all the way around. And then again, when you get to the end, you're going to want to make sure that you get around your whole stitch when you go into your chain 1 space. And that's what the 4th row looks like, but really the 3rd row using the moss stitch method, because this base row was just single crochets. So we'll keep going, chaining 2, turning our work, single crocheting in the chain 1 spaces, chaining 1 between each stitch, and moving across our work. Again, we are single crocheting into the chain one space from the previous row. Then we are chaining one and inserting. If we did not do the chains between the stitches, it would make your work start puckering in, because we need that chain to keep the stitch count 20 all the way across. So every now and then it is a good idea to just count your stitches. Let's get around that single crochet. So it's a good idea to count your stitches to make sure that you haven't accidentally dropped a stitch anywhere. So we have 1, because we're skipping this first one, 2, 3 with the chain, 4 with a single crochet, 5 with the chain, 6 with a single crochet, 7 with the chain, 8 with a single crochet, 9 with the chain, 10 with a single crochet, 11 with the chain, 12 with a single crochet, 13 with the chain, 14 with a single crochet, 15 with the chain, 16 with the single crochet, 17 with the chain, 18 with the single crochet, 19 with the chain. And again, we got to make sure we work on both sides of that B. So 19 with that chain and 20 with that single crochet. So you are simply going to repeat this pattern for as wide as you would like it and go to the height that you would like it. At the end of every row, you're going to chain 2, turn your work, and just single crochet in the chain one spaces from the previous round, chaining between each stitch, and single crocheting again across in those chain one spaces from the previous row. And at the end, you're going to have this beautiful kind of an open weave, because you do have the holes from the chain ones. So it's not going to be a tight weaved project, but it does look beautiful in the end. And again, just making sure I get on the other side of that single crochet. Using a variegated yarn, you can make a large blanket with this stitch. That's upside down. So this would be what the stitch looks like as you're working across. So you can see how it kind of creates these small diagonals. And again, it is an open weaved stitch, but in a variegated yarn, it's beautiful and it creates such a pretty stitch. So again, that is the moss stitch, a simple one for beginners just learning and who want to kind of diversify your stitch patterns instead of just doing simple single crochets all the way across. By adding that chain one space and skipping, you get this beautiful moss stitch. If you like these videos with Bella Coconut Boutique, make sure you hit that like button. Make sure you also hit subscribe so that as new stitch postings are uploaded, that you can follow along and learn new crochet stitches so that you can work on all sorts of projects year round and to share with others. I thank you so much again for watching this video on how to do the moss stitch, and I look forward to seeing you guys again soon. Happy crafting!